Hey guys, my name is Danelle Vigors, and on this channel I document my journey in tech, talking about IT, God, and everything in between. In today's video, I want to talk about how to create a virtual machine in Microsoft Azure, and not only do I want to talk about how to create the machine, but I want to talk about everything that's behind the scenes and really explain the reasoning why I do the things that I do when creating the machine. So without further ado, let's get into it. All right, so the first thing that we're going to do, this is going to be the Azure portal, right? Okay, so here we have the Azure portal. This is basically the central hub for everything Azure. You can find anything that you want basically on this page. So the first thing that I want to create is a resource group. Now, what a resource group is this is the way that I like to imagine it. Let's say you live in this house and you're moving to a different house, and you have all these boxes. Generally, what you do when you're moving is you categorize each box by what's inside of it. So let's say you have a box for pictures, you have a box for decorations, you have a box for even Christmas decorations. Each one of those, in my head, I imagine those as a resource group. So whatever is going to be that box is labeled is going to be inside of that box. So I'm going to be putting these pictures in that box. And what the pictures are, just stay with me. What the pictures are, according to Azure, is like something like the virtual machine, the network interface card, the network security group, all those things that go with each other. So they're going to go inside of this box. So we're going to create a resource. I like to go up here and search for resource group. As you see, I already typed it in right here. And you're gonna click resource groups, and right here at the top left, you're gonna hit create. Now the subscription, this is basically the subscription that you're paying for. You can have different subscriptions under your own account, but I just have the one, so we're just gonna select that. And resource group name, you can name this whatever you want. So I'm just gonna do test RG, that's test resource group. And then you have the region. So the regions are basically different areas of the world. And generally what you want to do is you want to select the one that's closest to you or closest to your customers. So I am in Texas, so I'm going to look for South Central US. And the reason why you want to select one that's closest to you is because usually if you do the one that's closest to you, it's going to be a lower latency for you. It'll be easier. You'll be able to contact that data center a lot quicker. Alrighty, so we're going to go ahead and hit next down here. And here you can do tags. And tags basically allows you to tag something, put a tag on it, like say this is for HR, this is for my personal stuff. You can tag stuff so that you can be able to group things inside of a resource group. But I have no need for that today, so I'm just going to go next. You can also click up here, review and create, and you want to make sure that everything is looking good. We got our subscription, we have our test RG, that's the name of my resource group, and then we have the region that we selected, and we didn't select any tags, so we're all good there. We're going to go ahead and hit create, and it's going to wait for that. It's going to say resource group created. You can also click right here and see that it got created. And it's actually already put us inside of the resource group. No. Created. And you'll be able to go to the resource group here. Alrighty, so this is our resource group. Right here at the top left, you see we created test RG. That is our resource group. Now, like I said, we're going to be able to, this is the box. The resource group is the box. So we're going to put some stuff in here into this box. Okay, so in this video, I want to create things by themselves first and then make the virtual machine just so we can see what each one requires. Okay, so the first thing that I want to make is I want to make a virtual network. So we're going to click create here. And here we're going to search virtual network. And we have virtual network right here. Go ahead and click create virtual network. Now, a virtual network is literally what it sounds like. It is a network, but virtual. So like the network that you have at your house, you have a router, you have a switch, You have a firewall even, but that's actually not considered part of this network switch. This is kind of what that is. So again, we have our subscription, and whenever you're doing this, we're putting this inside of that resource group box, right? So you want to make sure that when you select the resource group, that you're selecting the correct one. And since I only have one in here, it's going to automatically select the correct one, right? But if you wanted to, you can also create a new one. But we have our resource group here, so we're all good there. Now we have to name the virtual network. And so again, I'm just going to do test VN for virtual network. And very important, I'm going to select the same region as the resource group, South Central US. Okay, we're going to go next. Now here for security, this one we're not going to worry about this one too much right now. That'll be for another video. Now we have IP addresses. Now, again, this is a virtual network. So a virtual network is going to need, any kind of network is going to need some IP addresses. So you can create IP addresses. You can also create subnets inside of Azure. So as you can see, it's kind of already made a subnet for us. It named it default. This is the range for the subnet. And it did a -24, which is 256 addresses. So we can keep it like that, or we can even make adjustments to it. You can change the starting IP of your network. Also, you can also change the CIDR notation for it, the amount of addresses that you need. But for the moment right now, we're just going to keep it like this. Actually, I want to change the name of this subnet. So let's go ahead and find where it is. We have name right here, and we're just going to do test, and you might have guessed it, SN for subnet. And again, right here, you can also change those same attributes as we had just seen there. And for the moment, we're just going to keep it like this, okay? All right, so that is looking good. Just the same as before, you can create a tag for basically any resource that you have in Microsoft Azure, but we have no use for that right now. So we're going to go ahead and go to review and create. It's going to validate, make sure everything is going to work together correctly. And you just want to wait for that. All right, that took a little bit, but it says validation passed, and we want to make sure everything's looking good here. Yeah, looks good. Those are a lot of addresses, but we'll be okay. All right, and we're gonna go ahead and hit create. Now it's gonna create this stuff in the background, and we're just gonna wait for that, make sure everything is looking good. All right, so it changes to deployment in progress, and it's gonna open up this screen right here. So we can go ahead and close that out. And as it finishes, it already finished, but as it finishes, it'll pop up and say go to resource here. So we can go to resource, and here we have our virtual network called test VN. And yeah, everything looks good. We have the 10.10.0.0.0/16. One subnet that we created, South Central Test RG. This is going to be the resource group that is in. And everything is looking pretty good here. The cool thing about this is you usually have shortcuts. So you can click Test RG here, and it'll go back to your resource group. And you see that we have our virtual network inside of this resource group. Again, that resource group is the box, and we just put the virtual network inside the box. Okay, the next thing that we want to create is a network security group. Security group. Search. All right, so what a network security group, it kind of works like a firewall, allowing inbound and outbound rules to your liking for your virtual machine and for your subnets. So we're going to go ahead and see we have our security group right here, and we're going to go ahead and create that. All right, again, we have our subscription. That's the one that we have. We talked about that. We're not going to talk about that anymore. And then we have our resource group. Again, you want to make sure that you select the correct resource group, because if you don't select the correct resource group, your stuff is not going to work correctly. And we want to name it, and we're going to do test NSG, test NSG network security group. And the region is going to be South Central US. That's looking all good. Go next. And again, tags and review and create. It's going to do some validation stuff. You just got to wait for it a little bit. All right. So after the validation is passed, you can go ahead and create. And we will just watch this and pops that up. And it looks like we're all good. We have the network security group pulled up. Let's go ahead and pull it up, see what's in there. So again, like I said, it works kind of like a firewall where you can create inbound and outbound rules. So you see here, it says allow VNet inbound, any port, any protocol through the virtual network. And it says allow, and you can see all these different things, allow, deny, all these inbound security rules and the outbound security rules. And that's something we're gonna configure that later. But for the meantime, let's go ahead and go back to our resource group. And again, in our box, we have our virtual network and we have our network security group. So these two things, we're going to use these to be able to access our virtual machine on the network through RDP, really. So now we get to do the fun part, which is creating the virtual machine. So let's go ahead and go create, and let's search for Windows. All right, and then what we're going to create, we're going to go ahead and create a Windows 10 machine, and I'll go ahead and go with this version here. As you can see, we have lots of different options this time, so that'll be a lot of fun. Now let's go down the line. Of course, you have your subscription. Again, you want to make sure that you select the correct resource group. And we're going to do test RG right here. Virtual machine name. Of course, we're going to do test VM. And we're going to make sure that we have the correct region selected. So we have our availability options. We're just going to select availability zone. And we're going to select the zone that we want. And here you have different zones that you can select. So what an availability zone is, basically, so we have South Central US selected for our region, and in that region you have different zones. And for South Central US you have 3 zones. Basically, a zone is going to be a set of data centers. It can have 3 data centers. So zone 1 can have 3 data centers, zone 2 can have 3, zone 3 can have 3, and when you select the zone, it'll select a few of those data centers that you can work off of. Security type, we're just going to keep that like it is. And then we have image. This is the Windows 10 version that we selected. All right, let's go ahead and go down. And right here, we will need to select a different size for the VM. Now, the size is basically like the CPU, the RAM, and stuff like that. So let's go ahead and go to D series. I think we might have to go here. I think we might have to select this one right here. And looks like we should be good with that. I hope so. Now we're going to go to username. So this is going to be the login info for your machine. And so I'm just going to do test VM. See, hopefully that works. And you're going to make sure you select a secure password, because everything that you do has to be secure. Now we have the inbound port rules, and what that basically means is, so we're gonna log into this this VM so that we can RDP into it. And in order to RDP into the machine, you have to make sure that port 3389 is open for inbound. And so if you select none, you're not going to be able to RDP into the machine. So you have to allow this selected port 3389, and you want to click this box here. Now we can go next. What is this? Now we have the disk area, the disk options, and basically this is just like you have a hard disk or an SSD inside of your computer. This is basically what that is. It's the amount of space that you want to have for your machine, virtual machine, mind you. So we have the disk size, the OS disk size. We're going to keep that at the default. You have different disk types. So you have SSD, standard SSD, and you can see these all have different characteristics to each other. And you want to have this selected so that whenever if you do end up deleting the virtual machine, it's also going to delete the disk along with it. And then key management, this one I'm not too sure what it is, but I'll learn it one day, but we'll learn that at a different time. And we're going to go ahead and skip that. We're going to go to networking. Now in networking, we already created the virtual network, so we're going to make sure that we select the network that we created. And again, I haven't made any other ones, so it's going to select the one automatically. But you always want to make sure that you select the correct one. And we created that subnet along with the network. So that's our test SN, test subnet. And then we have the public IP. Now this public IP is the IP that you're going to use to be able to RDP into the machine. So it's going to create a new one for me right here. Or if I wanted to, I can just always select create new and then create it that way. Now the network security group, NIC network security group, we're just going to keep that at basic. Hey guys, I made a quick mistake. If you created a network security group already, you want to make sure that you click advanced here and then you select the network security group that you created so that it actually attaches itself to the correct network security group. So make sure you do that. If you haven't created one, that's when you do basic. But if you created one, you want to do advanced so that you can select to create the correct one. We're gonna keep these. Again, we have that public inbound port. Make sure that we can be able to RDP into it on port 3389. So we're going to keep that there. And then I'm also going to select this so that whenever I do delete the virtual machine, it's also going to delete the public IP and the NIC since I won't be needing it anymore. And we're going to keep that there. And then we're going to keep that there like that also. Now, management, these are extra features that you can enable for your virtual machine, but we're just going to keep everything just like that. Again, monitoring just different characteristics, different configurations that you can make for your virtual machine. Again, I'm going to go next. And again, same thing with advanced, just different things that you can do with the virtual machine. Okay. And then again, we have the tags right here, and I'm going to see what's in here. Oh, that's cool. So we have our tags here, and we're not creating any tags for this video, so we'll just go next. And then it's going to do some validation, making sure everything is looking all good before it actually creates the machine. So we'll just wait for that. And as you can see, since it's loading, we have the size that we selected for the virtual machine, and this is how much it's going to cost per hour. All right, and then we'll just wait for this to finish so we can go over everything else. Looks like the validation has passed, and I just want to make sure everything is looking good here. We have our subscription. We have the test RG group that we made, resource group that we made. We have the test VM virtual machine that we made with the correct region in the availability zone. This is what we selected. We selected zone 1, so it says self-selected zone 1. And let's see, we have our image, which is the Windows 10 that we selected, the size that we selected. Everything's looking good so far. We have the username. This is the username that I created. And we have the RDP port open so that we can be able to RDP into the machine. Yes, I have a Windows license. And yes. We have our disk, so we selected everything pretty much as the defaults there, so everything's looking good there. And important, we have our virtual network selected. That is the correct one. We have our subnets, and it created an IP for us. And yeah, we're looking all good. So let's go ahead and hit create and wait for this thing to create itself. And this process takes a while because it's going to be creating quite a few things for us. So we have a deployment in progress. It's already created the IP, it's created the network security group, and we'll just wait for this to finish. Alrighty, and it looks like everything is all finished, so that we can go ahead and go to resource. We have our test VM virtual machine right here. Yeah, everything is looking good so far. So we have our resource group here. It's running and this is the machine that is running. So this means that you're getting charged now. All right, so be very mindful of that. We have our location, our subscription, availability zone. Yeah, everything's looking good. Now, important is we have this primary NIC public IP. So the same thing, the same way that you have a NIC on your computer, you also have a NIC for your virtual machine so that you may be able to access, your network, things inside of your network or the internet. So we have our public IP, and this is the public IP. This is the one that we're going to be using to be able to RDP into the machine. So you can actually go down here, and this is our network interface card right here. It's called test VM 43_Z1. I don't know what those numbers and letters mean, but that's what they named it. So again, we have this is going to be our public IP right here, and it also creates a private IP. So basically, this is the IP that we have inside of our network, inside of that virtual network that we created, and then you have the public one right here. So that is basically how you create a virtual machine. Very simple, very easy. Of course, we didn't go over everything in this video. That'll be for a later video. But that is basically the basic steps on how to create a virtual machine. Yeah, wonderful job. And I imagine that most people would probably want to see how to actually remote into the computer. So I'll go ahead and show that also. Okay, so I am on a Mac. So I use an application called Windows App to be able to RDP into the machine. So what you can do is you can go ahead and hit this right here, get add, and you're gonna add a PC. Okay, so the PC name, this is gonna be the host name, which we don't have a host name for this because it's not inside of our network. So we can actually just do the public IP that we found earlier, which is gonna be right here. We have 20.64.96.91. And we're just gonna select, well, actually we can add the credentials right here, and that'll make our life so much easier. So these are gonna be those admin credentials that we put in earlier when we were creating the machine. So we're gonna go ahead and put those credentials in, and I'm gonna name it test VN just so I can know exactly which machine that I'm working with. Gonna hit add right here, and then everything else you can pretty much keep default here. Yeah, everything looks good. Go ahead and add, and then we're going to connect and go ahead and hit continue. This is just a certificate thing, and we'll just wait, and there we go. Of course, every time you start a computer over, you restart a computer or you're booting it for the first time, it's going to take a little while. So it's going to take a little bit of time. It's getting all of its things together. And we say no to everything here. Every single thing. I know I'm not the only one. No, 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 no. And there we go. We are in. We are into here. I'm going to go ahead and select no here. And let's go ahead and exit out. And, while we're here, let's go ahead and open C command line, so we can see what our private IP is. So we're gonna go IP config, and there we go. That is our private IP, the one that we saw earlier next to the public IP. Alrighty, yeah, that looks fantastic. That was really fun. So again, I went over everything that pretty much makes a virtual machine that allows it to work. You have the resource group, which is that box that you put every single thing inside of. So you have the resource group, and then you have the virtual machine, the network security group. You also have the NIC, the virtual network, the virtual subnet, and all those things work together in order for you to be able to have a network by itself, but also to be able to work inside of a virtual machine. Again, I didn't go over everything because there's a bunch of different things that you can do when you're making a virtual machine, but that is the very beginner level, very high level overview of what you can do when you're creating a virtual machine, if you just need something to get you started real quick. So thank you so much for tuning into this video, and if there's anything else that you would like me to go over, please let me know, and don't be afraid to subscribe. There's a bunch of new videos that I'm going to be working on soon to be able to, one, showcase my skills, but also to teach people the basics and also the advanced things. So Thank you for tuning in, and I will see you next time. Peace.